Entering Eden in 40 days talks about the way to Eden according to Jesus' teachings. The purpose of Jesus' teachings is harbored in the following paragraph. Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, for my yoke is easy and my burden is light. Therefore, Jesus seeks an easy and light or peaceful dwelling for men. Why does Jesus say so? Because man does not have a peaceful dwelling. God said to Adam, "Because you listened to your wife and ate from the tree about which I commanded you, you must not eat it. Cursed is the ground because of you. Through painful toil you will eat of it all the days of your life. It will produce thorns and thistles for you, and you will eat the plants of the field. By the sweat of your brow you will eat your food until you return to the ground. Since from it you were taken. For dust you are, and to dust you will return." Entering the earth, man committed sins. The first sin is a brother killing a brother. Cain killed Abel. The Lord said to Cain, "Now you are under a curse and driven from the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you work the ground, you will no longer yield its crops for you. You will be restless, wanderer on the earth. When men wander on the earth, they committed many sins. The Lord saw how great man's wickedness on the earth has become, and that every inclination of the thoughts of his heart was only evil all the time. The Lord was grieved that he has made man on the earth, and his heart was filled with pain. Man's wickedness was so much that the Lord said, I will wipe out mankind, whom I have created, from the face of the earth, men and animals, and creatures that move along the ground, and birds of the air, for I am grieved that I have made them. The earth is weary and evil. How can Jesus bring man out of that miserable situation? The answer is that God's word will bring man to that peaceful dwelling. The earth is evil, and it tempts everyone, including Jesus. Then Jesus was led by the Spirit into desert to be tempted by the devil. After fasting 40 days and 40 nights, he was hungry. The tempter came to him and said, If you are the Son of God, tell these stones to become bread. Jesus answered, It is written, Man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God. Then the devil took him to the holy city and had him stand on the highest point of the temple. If you are the Son of God, he said, throw yourself down, for it is written, He will command His angels concerning you, and they will lift you up in their hands, so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. Jesus answered him, "It is also written, 'Do not put the Lord your God to the test.'" Again, the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. "All this I will give you," he said, "if you will bow down and worship me." Jesus said to him, "Away from me, Satan, for it is written, 'Worship the Lord your God and serve him only.'" Jesus has a clear distinction of two parts. Bread, the God's word. Bread represents the earth or the material world. God's word is the way. Jesus knows two realities, material and the way. Man's life is set in relation to these two realities, material and the way. And life is life right here and now, not life after death. Jesus says, "Man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes from the mouth of God." Bread is real, but God's word is also something real. If God's word is not real, how can man live on God's word? Ordinary people think that only material is real. Material is the only reality. But Jesus has a view which is different from people's view. God's word is also a reality. What does God's word say? It talks about the kingdom of heaven. Then what is the kingdom of heaven? Jesus talks about the kingdom of heaven in the Sermon on the Mount. Why is there the term kingdom of heaven? Jesus sees two realities. One is material or this world, and the other is something different from this world. This different reality is called heaven or the kingdom of heaven. So heaven is a reality which is different from the material world. The date of the appearance of the term heaven to man is unknown. Confucius also calls heaven the reality that is different from material. Material is mundane, wicked, sinful. Mundane describes the essential quality of material. Heaven is holy. Holy describes the essential quality of heaven. Why is material mundane and why is heaven holy? Man is born and lives within the dimension with those two qualities. Mundane, wicked, sinful, resides in the substance of man. In other words, man is in essential relation to mundane material and holy heaven. It seems that an animal is in relation to material only. An animal does not know heaven. Therefore, it is possible to say that man is different from animal because he has a relation to heaven. Without heaven, man is not far from an animal. Mencius says that without the way, man is not far from a beast. God's word is real in this world. With heaven, or the kingdom of heaven, lets us not think about a reality in a space in a far away sky. Language can cause a misunderstanding. And indeed, it did cause such a misunderstanding. God's word is real in this world. Jesus sees that reality. Jesus does not create that reality. He does not bring it from the sky down to this world and commands people to follow it. Jesus does not need to be God's Son so that there is that reality. Jesus does not need to make miracles so that there is that reality. Jesus does not need to resurrect so that there is that reality. Jesus, like Confucius, Lao Tzu, and the Buddha, does not lie. They tell only truth, and the truth is the truth with man right here and now, not the truth only after their death or when men are not men any longer. God's word or the way leads man to a peaceful dwelling. The book Entering Eden in 40 Days outlines that road. Eden is used instead of paradise or the kingdom of heaven because peaceful dwelling is a dwelling right here and now on earth. The attainment to the peaceful dwelling is realized right here and now, and later, according to each person's faith, will be realized in the kingdom of heaven. The book is divided in 40 days, in accord with Jesus fasting in 40 days before he began his teachings. The author hopes that after 40 days, the reader will at least see Eden is open. The more we realize what is represented in the book, the nearer Eden becomes. Entering Eden in 40 Days by Dr. Tien Cong Tran. It's available on Amazon.com.